Welcome, everyone, on this beautiful Thursday. Gosh, Florida has the best weather right now that you can imagine, like in the low 70s. And that was a good thing because my air conditioner broke. It just got fixed, but it was doable, and not having an air conditioning. And we're not going to have any rain, and there's barely, well, it's a light breeze, and it's like, this is the best place to be. Sorry, guys, for all the ones that have to deal with the cold already and in the snow. And I saw there's some horrible weather here and there. And yeah, I do miss the seasons. Coming from the Netherlands, we definitely had four seasons, or actually maybe one, very wet. But yeah, being in the snow, as pretty as it is, I think I prefer Florida. So anyway, we have with us today only Sarah. Gary couldn't make it. Katie may show up, so we shall see. And so it's just the two of us. And Sarah was just telling me about her detox that she's been doing for a few months, and she is taking it really, really deep, which you can hear when she's talking or tries to talk, with
I'm
all the
still here
mucus
though.
keep coming up.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I think it's crazy because I thought, I was pretty okay. And it turns out that I still have hidden pockets of stuff. So let it come out.
Yeah, it's something that it's not like, okay, I detox, now I'm done. And for the people who are new here and don't know about what the heck are they talking about, but I think most people do know, it is, I have been trained and certified by Dr. Morris, who's, if you say you have a certain issue, he always says fruit, berries, and melons. There you go. But it's not a consistent detox that we would do. You do it for a while, and then you go back to what I consider a mucusless diet, and then you can detox again. You can feel that. You feel when it is needed. And what make you go that route again, Sarah? Did you feel that you needed it, or was it just okay? Let's do it.
Well, mine came from like, I was just diving deeper into the Bible. And then there was also that time when we were talking about Dr. Morris, when he even wrote in his book about how you reach kind of like the higher frequencies and alignment when he was on all oranges. And I just thought, you know what? Let's do it. And I just went for it. And it's it is really amazing the stuff you can tune into spiritually and even with your body and just all around us. And once you clear everything up and the light frequencies that you're getting from the fruit, it's just really amazing. And I feel like I'm better connected and I feel better. I know I don't sound good right now, so that's hard to even imagine, but I don't even feel sick at all. Like I have tons of energy. And what I was telling Toni from what I was looking into, it's like I was in cold exposure, and that's some of the stuff Dr. Morris talks about too, that when we go into cold, I forget, is cold alkalizing?
Yes.
Okay, so it's alkalizing, and yet we've had warm temperatures, and then all of a sudden we had like a cold snap here in Ohio. And I was outside, and we were outside for hours actually that night, and I felt something like loosen in my sinus cavity, and it kind of slid down in the back of behind my nose and into my throat. Like I felt the whole process of it. And then that night, I felt it kind of slide down more into my throat. And then by the time I woke up in the morning, I sounded like this. And it says that, the mucus is just sitting around my larynx and voice box area. And so every time we talk, your vocal cords vibrate, and the vibration of that with the mucus, they're already inflamed with the mucus sitting there. So I just been eating my grapes, doing my orange juice, and drinking tons of water to pull it through. And I'm just letting it come out. So, but yeah, I mean, that's why, I started it. It's more just I'm deepening my journey with God, and it's um it's very interesting. I mean, I've been on full fruit for 4.5 months now, and I mean, I feel like I've completely changed. I mean, I'm still like the same kind person, but there's just such a peace now and a knowing, and like I'm just very, very sure about stuff now too.
Yeah, that's really, really nice to hear how you are doing it, and you really go by, not plan it, but let it happen. Let it, yeah, that's the only way I can describe it. You let it happen.
Yep. And that's the whole thing about everything. I mean, you get the clarity when you're on this as well too. Now, I have to say, like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a naturopath. I'm not even a counselor. This is just my experience and what I've been doing. So, I mean, it's definitely very important to listen to your body and do what your body needs. I mean, there's times where, if because everybody knows, they've heard me, I'm like a broken record. I do a lot of physical stuff outside and everything too with the horses. And there's times when I needed a little bit extra salt, so I just pop some under my tongue or put some in my water. Or there was times when I felt like I needed another meal, so I would have another mango or more watermelon, more grapes. I do not limit myself at this point on anything either, but there was a time where I was limiting when I was deep into detox. I would try to eat no later than 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That way everything could be digested before sunset. But again, this was about my spiritual journey too. It wasn't just my physical journey. So there was many layers to it. And but you get the clarity, like so much clarity of knowing what to do, and you can really hear what your body needs and what it's going through. And I have to tell you, 99% of this is a mental game. It is complete mental because you're thinking like, I need this, and really, really you don't. But your mind will tell you you do.
Yeah, there's sometimes a little disconnect there.
There sure is. And then through this process, you do learn how forceful your mind was at one time. But when you break the habit, because that's really what it is, it's an addiction, really. And when you break the addiction, it's just people are like, how are you still around food? How are you that? And I'm like, I don't even want it. Like, I know it's gonna make me feel sick, and I don't want it right now. I mean, there might come a time where I do want some cooked meals again, and then guess what? I'll flow with it. I'll eat it. I'll do whatever it is my body's calling for. So there's no like rigid stuff anymore. I do want to say something too, Tony. I'm looking at YouTube and it looks like the chat is not turned on.
Oh, that would be odd because that's always automatically.
Hmm. I've
And
refreshed a few times too, and it's still not coming on.
I have no idea how to do that. How to,
And I unfortunately don't know either.
no,
But maybe it's not just on just for me. I don't know.
no, I haven't changed anything. Live chat.
I'll check my phone too because I'm on my
Okay,
computer.
maybe it's on now.
Let me refresh.
Because it shows live chat. I'm gonna put it on share so that we
Okay,
can go
get
further
started.
with last week's and the week before because it was a long article or lesson actually.
So I just pulled it up on my phone real quick and the chat is on, but for some
Yeah,
reason I can't access it on my computer. So,
yeah, I see
hi
Lisa.
Lisa. Yep.
Yeah, all right. Um, let me see what I was. Oh yeah, I was gonna share, right? And I have to do that from the Zoom one. Okay, and I already enlarged the text, so it should be easy to read. Are you having the text in front of you, Sarah?
Yep, I can see it. It looks good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and for the people who haven't heard it, I know I sent it out to a few people that just asked me to send the whole lesson to you. And it's a PDF, and I don't even know how many pages it is, quite a few. Um, just sent me an email to healthywithfruits at gmail.com. It's in the description. So let's go this because we were just talking about, sometimes that you feel that you want to eat something and you know it's not good for you. And listening to your body, I always joke about that my taste buds don't really do its job very well because it likes certain things and eating it within 15 minutes, my stomach is already, you shouldn't have done that. And there is this little thing in your brain that, yeah, at times you still do it.
Hmm.
And so here is methods for overcoming negative emotional conditioning. And we have been conditioned, with food. And when I first came to the United States, it wasn't as bad as it is now. And I always say, in the United States, you have a restaurant on every corner and 10 in between. And that's pretty much it. I saw when I first came to Deadwood in South Dakota, I was like, where are people working? And actually, they only worked in the food industry, in the restaurants, because, it's a tourist area. And you see that a lot here. When I live in a small town, I live in Bartow in Florida, south of Lakeland. It is the county seat, but it's still a very small town. And they just showed a list with how many restaurants there are. It was 126. I'm like,
Wow, that's crazy.
this is unbelievable. But we have two smoothie places, and one smoothie place is well, most of them are completely vegan. The combinations of the smoothies are not really what I would like to use, but at least it's there, you know.
There is some stuff like because we have a tropical smoothie cafe around us.
Yeah,
And
here
I
too.
so
Yeah.
I was always like, okay, I'll go there and I'll just get their like strawberry banana thing. I think it's called like something jetty, like punch jetty or something. It turns out that they put something in there, I forget. And there was another company that was putting like dried egg powder or dried white
Huh?
egg powder. So like be very careful what they do add. Even though it's not listed, they put stuff in there as like a filler. So,
Oh my
and
gosh.
and it does change the flavor because once I found out, I was like, wait, I just want just the strawberries and bananas and the water and the whatever the ice. And when they gave it to me, I was like, oh, this definitely doesn't taste as good as the other one. So just be careful on that stuff.
Yeah, that's the same when you see packets material and it lists spices.
Yeah, or
And
natural
MSG is,
flavorings.
yeah, it's a flavor. MSG is also listed as spices.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's be aware, but you want to get to a point that you don't even want any packaged meal. But I can see when there is time that it would be convenient and that you want to eat a cooked meal. I mean, for your body will tell you right away, if it feels good or not. For me,
Yeah.
it's like any cooked meal, as delicious as it is, my body doesn't like it. It doesn't want it.
Yeah, mine rejects it almost
Yeah.
immediately. I
Yeah.
was making rice for my husband the other day, and I just took a little pinch of it to see if it was done and right. I mean, it was like I might as well just eating rocks. I was
Oh,
like, what the heck?
oh gosh.
I was like, well, I'm not tasting your food no more.
Yeah, isn't that something? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, let's get into this. We have seen how many poor diet habits are connected with emotional conditioning from childhood and in our adult lives. To change our eating habits and to adopt a better way of nutrition involves changes on an emotional level as well as changes in your daily activities. Awareness is the most valuable method we can use in overcoming emotional associations with destructive food such as sweets, fried food, etc. Does that make me think about comfort food? When I first heard that word comfort food, and it was you heard it all over the place. And what exactly is comfort food? It's absolutely the worst food that you can eat. So at any time they show something as, oh, the delicious comfort food, I would say stay away from it. If we are conscious of why we want a bowl of ice cream, well, maybe because it tastes good, we are in a better position to deal with that desire by recognizing the impulse as arising from past emotional conditioning and not from a current real or physiological need. We are better able to change our habits. Along with this awareness is a need for education about the foods we desire or avoid. If we understand how eating white sugar forces the body to utilize its own supply of vital nutrients for its metabolism, we are less likely to eat it. If we know the many health benefits of raw foods, we are in a position to learn to enjoy them for that sake. So we must first educate ourselves about a proper nutrition and then develop an awareness about the foods we put in our bodies. Another important method of overcoming emotional conditioning is the development of a positive self-image. Many people indulge in self-destructive eating habits out of a desire to punish themselves for not being good enough. If people see no worth in themselves, they will have a difficult time in wanting to improve their health through a change in diet. The desire for good health often indicates a developing positive self-image. Many people suffer from feelings of inadequacy or inferiority. They do not feel they deserve optimum health. What we need to realize is that radiant health and well-being is a birthright of all human beings. Each of us deserves to be totally healthy in mind, body, and soul. We must regain this birthright through proper nutrition, and a positive emotional attitude. Now, there's a little going back in the time when I learned more about eating fruit. I have to say that because I saw when I first started, I saw results in a few days and more in a few weeks. You know, the depression, the pain, it was all getting better. But it also right away improved yeah, you could say the positive self-image. Like, hey, I can do this. So it may be hard to get started, and I talk a lot to people who have been doing it already and had great success, and then something happened and they felt they to fall back into old habits. So you have to start all over again, but never feel bad about yourself that you have to start over again, because we could say it's human nature. We don't expect to be perfect. At least I don't expect it, and we do the best that we can within the circumstances that we live in. So never feel bad about yourself that it was difficult to get started again, but make the decision to just start again. And that could be one fruit meal that you change, always start your mornings with fruit and go from there.
Yep. It's not about being perfect because we're not here to be perfect. It's just about how quickly and how fast you return back to it. So even when you fall, do you just lay there? Do you just get back up? That's all you do. Sometimes you got to lay there for a little bit, but then you eventually get back up, and that's all you got to keep doing. The other thing about this, though, Tony, was I know I talked before, um, and this ties into what you were just saying, is fat really plays a huge role in a lot of the addictions and stuff, and especially when you brought up ice cream. And I don't think that people really realize the role that fat plays in stuff and how it can really it really is an addiction. So I kind of really dove into the whole thing about fat, and it's that fat gives you an instant comfort hit because it triggers the body's own pain relief. This is what I talked before about how fat can mimic like ibuprofen, and it makes you feel good even when you get it. So when you swallow it, your gut releases endocannabinoids and opioids, the same molecules that your brain releases when you take ibuprofen or morphine. It literally numbs discomfort. That's why people reach for creamy, greasy, or cheesy foods when they are stressed or sad. The first few bites make the body go, ah. But there's a catch. The same signal that dulls pain also dulls your circulation. It slows detox and suppresses your lymph flow. The comfort turns into stagnation. It's like wrapping your whole nervous system in a weighted blanket that you can never take off. That's why after the high wears off, you get fatigue, heaviness, and the cravings start just again. The body wants another chemical to numb it. So it's it's like psychological warfare. And that's why there's so much fat in everything because it literally makes us physically addicted to it. It gives us the feel good sensation there. But when you switch the fruit and you stop chasing numbing cycles and you start feeding the electric one with glucose that actually powers the cells rather than sedates them, your clarity, energy, and peace that you feel comes back. And that's your nervous system running clean for the first time in who knows how long people have ever felt this way. I mean, if you even think about it, babies can be born this way. And then if you don't go on mother's milk, most parents just start feeding dairy fed, stuff like that. And, so you may have never felt a clean cycle in your whole entire life. And that is sad. But that's just what the industries have done to us.
Yeah, and it already started, I think, pretty much in the 40s, 50s, because children, at least in the Netherlands, around 6 months old, then they started to give them milk and cow's milk and cooked food. And this is where you very often see that these kids get ear infections. And I know I had it until I stopped drinking milk when I was 12 years old, and I had it from 6 months old, twice a year. And it was just the body detoxing.
Yep.
And it's interesting when you go back to all the things that you had been going through as a child and with your own children. My daughter was on a reasonable, healthy diet. I mean, mostly vegetarian, not necessarily vegan. She is not now, but she's pretty healthy. But
Mhm.
she would always say inherit the same ear problems as I had. So yeah, she got a lot from your parents. And but that doesn't mean that that is, there to stay. As soon as you start eating healthier, your body starts healing.
Yes.
And
And
yeah, what you mentioned, it's just, the little steps. But we've also been lied to with that whole stuff about the healthy fats. So yeah, you need the healthy fats.
yeah, I looked into that too, and that has something to do with that. I don't know what era or what age this was or whatever, like if it was the 80s or something like that. But it's when the hydrogenated fats came out, and then the industry was like, well, we can't have people afraid of stuff. So that's when they started coming out with the seed oils and the nut oils. And again, this is just me here, but I don't care if Yeshua himself came and said, I made this olive oil. This is the best olive oil there is. It's still fat in your body. I mean, and fat in our bodies, they cause fog, they cause all this stuff. And in my opinion, I think that, fat is, and I shouldn't say this is my opinion. I mean, there's research out there that diabetes is caused from fat issues, and that's the intermyocellular lipids, which is the fat that is in your muscles. And then I don't know, it's like the glucose or something, then can't get in there to get burned off properly. But, and then now they're calling like dementia and Alzheimer's, is it diabetes type 3 or something like that? So now we got fat issues that early research is already starting to come out with that could this be another whole fat issue? And that would totally explain why we have an influx of dementia, Alzheimer's, and everything like that. Yes, it has always been around, but the influx of it is similar, the same as autism. There's always probably been some cases of autism. They're just nowhere near like they are now. And I believe we're in the early research stages of we're going to find out that this is all the fat that they've been feeding us and the big I'm going to say big ass lie of that fats are good for you. Very little fats are good for you. And believe it or not, you can actually get some fats from fruits and your vegetables too. And those are probably more likely what was intended for us rather than people sitting around eating handfuls of seeds and nuts and things like that, which those are just going to cause too much fat for your body to get rid of. They're going to cause kidney problems and they're going to give you probably brain fog and excess stuff that your body just can't get rid of.
Yeah, and that is the nuts and the seeds is a bigger problem than what we think, because when you go to a raw vegan diet and you look in all these books, cannot call it cookbooks anymore, not cooked. Many of the recipes include nuts. Because yeah, you can make absolutely delicious things with nuts, cashews, all kinds of nuts actually, and avocado.
Right. But
You
Tony,
know,
is all that stuff really good, or is it just your brain saying this is good because
no,
it's taken on like the morphine effect?
yeah, but what I was, it's like it's been promoted so much.
Yes.
And we think, okay, raw vegan. I mean, when I was on a raw vegan diet, I thought this is the best that I can do for myself. And I got in more and more pain and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I've often mentioned it. It was not until Dr. that I met Dr. Morse and he was like, um, get the nuts and the seeds and the avocado and the coconut out of your diet. That is where the change started.
Mm-hmm.
So with the, but when you look at it, whatever food, vegan, raw vegan, it's always go to restaurants, it's always nuts and avocado. I mean, yeah, you can make a delicious chocolate mousse with avocado. And the thing with avocado is, it's like, yeah, but it's the healthy fats. You can get addicted to it. And an avocado didn't even exist 150 years ago.
Right.
So it's like it's always it is the it is the best thing that you can do for your body, and it's the healthy fats and you need it. And then we talk about the omegas 3 and 6 and in balance, and I'm like, can we keep it simple, please?
Mm-hmm.
And because I talked one time to a person, and she wanted to know exactly which amino acid was in which fruit, so she could figure out which fruit to eat and how many, so she would get all the amino acids.
Oh,
I don't think our body does works that way.
no, it doesn't. And most people go and they eat meat in order to get quote protein, and that protein is just needs to be broken down in our body to become the amino acids.
Yeah, and from the amino acids, the correct proteins for our body will be created. It's
Exactly.
it's
So
an
why put
amazing.
your body through the whole digestive?
Yeah, but
issues of digesting all that stuff in the first place.
yeah, but when you go into an even a health food store, and it is maybe well, maybe even less, 5% is produce, and the rest is and about 20% is or more is meat, and then the rest is all packaged and junk.
Yeah.
And even with the and there's very little, maybe 1% is organic. And so in whatever store I go into, it's always going to the produce section, and that's about it, and finding, what we need.
Right. And what's in the produce section? Vegetables. I mean, it's vegetables, potatoes, and all the stuff. And then you got
Yeah.
bananas, strawberries, berries, and some, at least some of our stores have like some subtropical types fruits, but the whole rest of it is just loaded with vegetables. And it's like, where's the fruit?
Yeah, it's a good thing that more farmers are getting into fruit. We see that here in Florida because, of course, if it is not too hot, because it can be too hot for a lot of things too, but the mangoes really thrive here. I can see
Hmm.
that with my own mango tree. Uh,
Yeah. I told
and
my husband we're moving soon.
yeah, I have the space here to like I want to plant some lettuce. I was going to do that, but then it got too hot, and now it's getting ideal. And
Mm.
because the veggies, lettuce especially, romaine, I've never knew there were so many different types of lettuces, so I
Oh,
would
crow
definitely.
butter lettuce.
Yeah, that was usually the only lettuce that you had in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
Never
So
had,
good.
the romaine or any of the other things. It was always that butter lettuce. Yeah.
Hmm. I don't like the rib in the romaine. It always reminds me of kale, and I never liked kale, and now I know why. But
It's hard for your
mm,
digestive system.
yeah, yeah, yep. And people can be vegan all day long, and even plant-based and everything, but like you can be vegan and still eat nothing but pasta, rice. You can eat pizza with no cheese on it. You can eat all this stuff, and then so literally you're just a junk food vegan. Or you can eat nothing but processed stuff either. And I tell you what, if you're lazy or anything like that, there is nothing easier than just buying a bag of apples and that's it. Like,
It's very true. I always love to cook and create, something magical out of nothing. And the less I had in the pantry, the more creative I got. But when I became raw vegan, I was like, oh, okay, now I had all these books about because there's an amazing book by oh, what is that? Michael Rothkranz and his wife, Love on a Plate. And they do all the typical from pizza and burgers, but then they make it in a raw vegan version.
yep.
And so I was completely into that. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be an raw vegan chef. That was it. But then, seeing myself getting less healthier actually over the years, and learning from Dr. Morris, it's like, nope, to no more cooking. And it was just like you feel that you want to eat something. Okay, well, let's grab some grapes or an apple or orange juice or like just before we started here, I made myself a smoothie with four different frozen berries. And it's easily done. You don't have to think about, what to create. That's just it. You grab your fruit and you're done.
Yep.
What
That's
I do see, and I think that is something that people need to be aware of, not eating enough. And for me, it's not really an issue. I can lose some pounds. But for my husband, he is 5'11", he's on 25 pounds.
mm, he's
Oh
very
no,
smart.
fruit, and he feels great. I mean, he's 70 years old and he works a tough job. and 60 to 80 hours a week, but he can do it.
Mhm.
And that is on fruit only. Yeah, fruit and some lettuces,
Yep. It's because he's being fed by light and he's not being weighed down by constant digestion. And
right?
that's the other thing people get so like, well, I'm not getting enough calories. Well, calories are energy. And, how much of that are you want to get that from the fruit because then that's easy digestion. But don't forget, if you're taking in all that like heavy foods, then your body's going to have to use all those calories that you just took in for digestion. And then now you're not going to have the energy for your body to move around. And that's what I keep telling her. I was like, look at me, like I'm basically running circles around everybody. And then you guys are the ones taking in all the calories. And I was like, just look, open your eyes. But I found the other part I was going to say about when I was talking about that, the trans fats and refined oils, the industry needed a hero after demonizing bad fats. So avocado, olive oil, nuts, and seeds were branded as, quote, good. The phrase struck, and soon people were drinking oil instead of balancing nature's design. The only true, quote, good fat is what's built into a whole foods that grow under the sun, tiny natural fats in fruits, greens, and some seeds occasionally that the body can dismantle easily. That's the kind of fat you're already getting without trying by having fruits. So, and I'm telling you, the deeper I get into this and the more I hear my body and stuff, the more it's like, duh, like it's not complicated. And I think the more they make it complicated, then the more are they trying to hide something? You got to be like a dietitian, a professional, a doctor, or something to figure stuff out. And then most people think that they can't figure this out, when really it's just go by nature's design. Our food was never produced in a lab. Why does it have to be now?
Yeah, and there are people who only eat what's created in a lab only. So,
Well, a lot of our fruits and vegetables were created in labs too. Like I found out today that Keat, Keitt, mango, fortunately, that was not created in a lab. It's been being grown since the 1930s down in Florida, and it is still grown from seed and when they plant trees, but you got to be careful, kind of like what you talked about with the avocado. And then you
yeah,
got all these hybridized stuff too. So, but again, now we're kind of like you're digging into layers. So, the easiest thing though right now is just start. And I don't even care if you start with just oranges that you just go and buy from the grocery store, but then maybe one day start buying them from a farmer's market or something. Just once you get into it and you get your habit down, your routine down, then start refining it from there. I mean, when you start, like an example would be going to the gym or something, you don't start going in and targeting little itty bitty tiny muscles. You just start targeting, I'm going to start walking today. And then from there, you build on it.
yeah. Okay, I keep having that page with affirmations on my screen. And it happens, it's like Gary always says that your body listens to what you're saying. So
Yeah.
when you feel the need to eat something that you already know is not that great for you. So here we go. I am strong in will and restraint. I eat only those foods good for me. And positive affirmations, it's not kind of like they say, it's not magical, they're not self-hypnosis, but they are an effective method for surrounding yourself with a positive environment and a healthy mental state in which you grow. And they allow you to assume responsibility for your own emotional health, and they serve as a direct means of activating your latent powers. They are a form of a personally devised self-therapy that have only positive, non-harmful results. Affirmations are the link between our conscious mind and our hidden emotions. Are we consciously direct our energies toward a desired quality, we tend to attain that goal. If affirmations are used regularly and in good faith, we can rapidly outgrow those harmful emotional states that hinder our personal growth. And yes, we alone are responsible for our mental and emotional health. In 1865, Louis Pasteur made a discovery that is the basis of the germ theory of disease. This theory of disease suited modern man's ego quite well. No longer did he have to blame himself for the sickness caused by his own transgression of the natural laws of health, but he could instead blame the germ that invaded the body. And we are, as you know, we are so good at it to not take the responsibility ourselves, but it's always it's not our fault. The germ theory effectively shifted man's own personal responsibility for his health onto the shoulders of the medical profession, who knew how to kill the offending germs. Consequently, man soon perceived his own personal health as something that was no longer in his hands. This type of thinking asserts itself in other areas as well. If we feel mad or out of sorts with the world, it is always the fault of our parents, our spouse, our boss, or the government. Sorry, guys. Somebody or something causes our emotional and mental problems. It sure isn't us, we think. The desire to blame the failure of interpersonal relationships or even complete emotional and mental breakdown on outside factors such as hidden stress, poor home environment, etc., also allows us to shift the responsibility away from ourselves and to some other person or event. As a result, we seek outside help for these problems in the form of therapists, counselors, psychiatrists, etc. The fact is, however, that a body that is properly cared for with good nutrition is able to withstand the major causes of emotional and mental illness, just as it is able to withstand the major cause of physical diseases. If we assume responsibility for our own health and supply the body with the highest life-giving nutrition, we can also ensure ourselves the peace of mind and stability of emotions that allow us to withstand stress and the other causes of mental and emotional illnesses. A properly nourished person can withstand factors that might provoke mental or emotional outbreaks in less well-fed people. In an article on marriage failures, Dr. Cecilia Rosenfeld stated, one of the prime causes of marital discord, nutritional deficiency, is too often overlooked. In my own practice, I have found that in a surprising number of broken marriages, spouses suffered from a blood sugar imbalance. Many of those husband and wife showed symptoms of irritability, violent temper, abnormal sensitivity, and extreme fatigue. Corrective nutritional guidance dispelled these unpleasant symptoms for many spouses, and in the process often bolstered their crumbling marriages. Along the same line, Dr. Joseph Nichols, president of the Natural Food Association, wrote, the unhappily married are often suffering from dietary deficiencies more than from the kind of social incompatibilities traditional therapy seeks to explore. Blaming our problems on a demanding boss or an argumentative spouse then is somewhat akin to ascribing all our physical problems to invisible germs. If we desire good mental and emotional health, we must work for it and assume full responsibility for this facet of our well-being as well. We must create the proper conditions for mental and emotional stability through proper diet and nutrition. And this is where an optimum diet helps. And I've seen that with depression, how easily it can change when you go on fruit. The optimum diet for mental and emotional health. At this point, it is useful to summarize what we have learned so far about the relationship between nutrition and the mind and emotions in order to determine what constitutes an optimum diet. Optimum diet. First, to ensure mental and emotional well-being, the diet must supply all needed nutrients in the form of unprocessed whole foods. Nutritional supplements are useless. They cannot be effectively used by the body and cannot be used to fill in nutrient gaps caused by a poor diet. And Dr. Morse always refers to that. That was because I took so many supplements before I met him. I think I spent at least $500 a month just on that, thinking that, with all my diet trying, I would die if I wouldn't take it. And even, I've been to holistic doctors, and this is going back 10, 20 years already. And of course, they always put me on a long list. And some people even put me on a list that was eight, $900 a month. And which is crazy because when Dr. Morse mentioned it's all isolated chemistry, the body doesn't even recognize it as food, cannot do anything with it. And then you realize, how much money you have been wasting on it. And it's all about your diet, what you eat. Yeah, they mention here second, all foods, non-foods that rob the body of nutrition must be eliminated in order to maintain the nutritional balance crucial to mental and emotional stability. Third, foods that leave heavy toxic byproducts in the bloodstream must not be eaten if we wish to avoid poisoning our body and our mind. Even small amount of these toxins are enough to induce depression in most individuals. Fourth, food should be eaten in harmonious environment with a calm, relaxed disposition. Okay, here we go. How many people eat while they're watching TV or scrolling the internet?
Mhm.
Just think about it.
Yep. And I even, so when I was going through the beginning of my detox, I would take my watermelon and I would go and stand outside with bare feet in the grass with the sun on my face and eat my watermelon that way. And that way I was getting both light from the inside and light from the outside. And I was being grounded. So now I was in presence while I was eating.
That is beautiful, Sarah.
Uh-huh. It is cold outside, so I do not do that now. But yes, I mean, still, but even like, so I don't know if how many people really eat a mango, but I eat it kind of, I call it wild, where like I cut the front off, the back off, and then I do like that pattern and then I turn it inside out. But after that, after I cut the other sides off and eat that, then I pretty much just eat the whole entire fruit around that's not the seed. I think it's called like the husk inside, and then the seeds inside the husk. But I have to stand over the sink while I eat it because it's juicy and it's all over. So I'm not scrolling. I'm not looking at anything. I'm not watching TV. I'm fully present while I'm eating that. Now, I'll munch on my grapes and stuff while I'm driving or doing something like that or things like that. But I am fully present when I'm eating my mangoes because you kind of have to be. And the other thing I stopped doing too, which is really crazy, when you think about it, is I don't look at TikTok, I don't look at Instagram. I barely watch anything anymore. I try very hard to stay present. And even though I was watching like The Chosen stuff and Bill Donahue and just, like good wholesome things, the way the algorithms are set up, they're meant to fragment our minds. And then it takes a little while for you to come back from it, even though you're watching good, wholesome stuff. The algorithm, it does something like little tiny dopamine hits and some other kind of things that they do to our brain chemistry. So if you are going to sit down and watch something, go to YouTube and pick something to watch. So if I do want to watch The Chosen or something like that, I go and I put the episode on. So it's not like oh, I flick and there's another one, then there's another one, so it's like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they can fragment our minds.
yeah. Well, it's very true. I had that happen to me. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And I mean, I was a victim of like hours of TikTok, especially during COVID and everything. I mean, when everybody was just not really nothing going on, it was just, yeah. So, and no numbing out. We shouldn't numb out, and you shouldn't eat to numb either.
Yeah, but isn't that something? I have actually I turned one of my smaller rooms in my home into a library with a comfortable chair, nice light. I can even have some music there. And I used to always read. It's like from 5 years old, I was always reading. And somehow that went completely to the back burner despite my little library.
Aw. Well, maybe that it will come back. We have seasons for everything.
Right.
You're a very busy person. I mean, it's not, like you're not. So hopefully that will come back.
Yeah, it
Mm.
was because I always love to read. It's relaxing. It's yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it's just to making that decision to sit down there and just read the book. I was somebody was asked I was at a webinar and someone asked on what was the book that made the most impact on your life, and a person said that was Awareness. And I just got it in, found it secondhand actually for the less than $1 on the internet. It's called Awareness by Anthony de Mello. Demello, Anthony de Mello. So that is the next book that I will be reading.
Uh, I have
Because
not heard of it.
yeah, if somebody says that it changed their life, then I'm kind of curious and I want to know what's in there.
Yeah. Well, I don't even have to say it, but I think everybody probably knows what book has changed my life.
Yeah, yeah,
It's one of the most popular books of all times.
that's very true. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well, finally, food should be eaten out of true physiological need when hunger is present. They should not be eaten as emotional substitutes for stimulation or as a mean of escape. This is what a lot of people are going through. You feel bad and it's like, I need to eat something. And, when we talked about emotional eating, so perhaps the most pressing need is the elimination of all non-food items from the diet. These non-foods include white sugar, white flour, alcohol, salt, condiments, and heavily processed foods. These foods alone are the major cause of mental and emotional illness, and they perform no positive function in the body whatsoever. Most health-minded individuals and health-oriented dietary system condemn these non-foods as explicitly harmful. Non-foods are indefensible from the standpoint of good nutrition and must be immediately eliminated from our diet if we wish to regain our natural mental and emotional stability. The second priority is the elimination of all foods that leave toxic byproducts in the body. Some of the foods which leave toxins in the body are all foods with chemical additives and preservatives: meat, eggs, dairy products, and they even, because this is natural hygiene, they say herbs are toxic. Yeah, of course, an herb can be toxic, depends on how much you take. Dr. Morris, although he is almost completely behind the natural hygiene, he mentioned that often the diet, but he doesn't agree with them that herbs should not be in your diet. Personally, I believe they have a function, and that when I learned and saw it with my own eyes, that herbs are growing where you live, where you are, when you need them. So if you have a yard, and I've had wherever I lived in the last, I don't know, 40, 50 years, there was a yard. And I've seen that happening. I've seen happening that a house I just bought, when we looked at it, it had like front and side yard was all one certain flower. And we bought the house in November, and we had seen it in like in the summer, and started, the painting and everything there and during the winter time. In the spring, none of these flowers came up, and they were not annuals. They were growing there wild, they were herbs. And other herbs started showing up. And it didn't dawn on me right away. It's like, I found that out later. And it's the same with our dogs. We had two dogs, and they knew exactly what they needed when. So, and I see the same happening here. That one particular herb, and I forgot the name of it, keeps coming back. And then when I look it up, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly what I need. So I do believe herbs have a function. But not long term. You're not using them like every day for years. Because I talked to people who had been, even with Dr. Morse's herbs, they had been using them for years. And I like, no, no. You use that for, 2, 3 months, and then you stop and you reevaluate. And please do not think that you absolutely need herbs to heal, because you don't. You can heal, and I think, Sarah, you are, I don't think you take any herbs. I only use it once in a while. Maybe it's for a few weeks. So, but
Yeah.
not longer than like maybe 3 months, if you want to use the herbs, if you feel that you need something extra to help your kidneys, or, help your adrenals. So what
Here's,
do you think?
I am not on any herbs. I've been on herbs in the past, and like, because I was born with asthma, what they said. I had bronchial asthma, and my lung even collapsed when I was a year old. So I was on herbs probably 15 years ago, and I think that those contributed to getting rid of my asthma. I will still have, like, if I'm in really dusty area of the barn, or if I've been brushing the horses and stuff, I'll still have some bronchial inflammation for sure. But what I was going to say about the herbs is I'm not anti-herb, but I just think it is how much time you have. Like, if you're very, very sick, you might not have time to let your body heal on its own. And you might need the herbs in order to help you with that. But if you have time and you're not very sick at this point, then let your body kind of run the course, let it run its path. And I'm also going to put it out there and say, like, I'm not against antibiotics either. I mean, I'm against overuse of them. I I would I would not turn to one. But like if I got some wicked infection or something and like my leg is being like destroyed or something from it, yeah, I'm gonna give the antibiotics a shot. But I'm not going to, because I have a cough, run out and get something. I'm gonna let my body run its course. I mean, you
Yeah,
kind of
you
get what I'm
don't,
saying?
right. You don't
Yeah.
want to suppress anything, and herbs
Right.
can suppress too.
Exactly. So
So,
if you and again, a lot of people that come to Tony, that come to Dr. Morris, and maybe even Gary, these are people that are a lot of times in end stage stuff. So the herbs can, be that thing that could maybe fill that gap where they don't have that time to just go out and eat some berries and allow your body to regenerate. So that's where I stand with the herbs. Do they have a place? Yes. Can they be overused? Yes. But that's the same with everything.
yeah, it is. And but we often think that we absolutely need them, and that's not the case. So we have to get away from that. I have my windows open because the weather is so beautiful. But I live in a mining area, which is not too great, as beautiful as it is here. Mosaic mining is a huge industry in this whole area, so sometimes the air is not really that healthy. And that's when I find myself coughing, and usually happens only when the windows are open. It can be so bad that the filter in for the air conditioning, it normally they would last like 2 months, 3 months. Well, we have to clean or put new ones in every month. If I have the windows open every 2 weeks because they turn black. And I'm like, you know what? That is air that we breathe in. It's pretty bad. That's one of the things that we have to be aware of. Where do we live? How healthy is the air? Air is not that healthy where I live. Okay, we were at herbs. Okay, artificial and preserved foods, fried foods, cooked foods, and certain noxious vegetables such as onions and garlic. Now, I am not against using garlic as a sort of medication, you could say, because I definitely feel it has its function. I do feel that I had a heart attack twice. The second time I didn't go to the hospital and used what's called heart drops from Dr. Strauss. And back then, I talk about like, 8, 9 years ago, it had hawthorn, cayenne, and garlic. And that was the only thing. And that actually saved me from going to the hospital because the second time I did not go to the hospital and I used those drops. But that is what I did. I know I'm not giving any medical information here. And let's just say it, this is all for entertainment purposes only. And if you are sick, then you have to talk to your doctor. What I do is, well, you know what I would do. For
Yeah, and
those
I'm not
people,
a doctor at all. I'm just here on expressing my opinions on my journey.
yeah, it's our personal journeys. We're not
It really
saying that,
is. Yeah.
yeah, and what works for us, we're not saying that you have to do that because if we do, we would get in trouble. So we don't want to get in trouble. Okay, for those people who have not yet adopted a vegan diet, that is a diet free from meat and all animal products, it is of extreme importance to eliminate all foods containing additives, preservatives, etc., in order to decrease the toxic overload that eating animal products produces. Animal products and meat in particular prevent full mental tranquility due to the amount of toxins both naturally contained in them and artificially added to them. In addition to following a vegan diet, the amount of cooked food should be decreased and eliminated. Eating cooked food results in a state of mental lassitude. What is lassitude? Nothing, Sarah? Lassitude? Sarah, are you still here? It's getting kind of quiet, so let me see where Sarah it went. I
Can you hear
wonder
me?
if I'm.
Can
Are you
can you
are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, I
Oh,
can hear you.
I don't know what was going on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay.
Additives?
Yeah, it's no lassitude.
Oh, highlight it where you are.
I am here.
Yeah, lassitude.
What does that mean? Mental lassitude.
I don't know. Look it up. Let's see.
Yeah. Guys, I am from the Netherlands. That is my
Yep.
native
La
language. So
Okay.
sometimes, yeah,
I was gonna
sometimes I
say
come.
like lassitude, like elasticity, but it's like lack of energy in the brain, mental awareness.
Oh, okay.
Yep. She
This
was
this is
overcome by lassitude and retired to bed.
okay. This is the first time I've ever seen that word or
Well,
heard
don't feel
about it.
bad because that's the first time I have too, but
Oh, okay. Oh,
vocabulary
okay.
has never been my strong suit. So
Yeah. Well, I feel proud that I can actually speak two languages, and it has been more when I was younger because I was fluent in German too, a
Okay.
little French because that's what you learn in Holland, and you learn four languages. It's English, of course, your own language, and English, German, and France.
Wow.
But
We were lucky to maybe learn a little bit of Spanglish. Yeah. They don't really, do very well here.
yeah. Well, here in Florida, it's the Spanish language or Mexican
Mm,
is you hear that more.
yeah.
Okay, well, that lassitude and deprives the body of the full nutrient range contained in the foods. For a remarkable state of mental clarity, a raw food diet is highly recommended. What we discover after examining the above observations is that an optimum diet should consist primarily of the following fruits: fresh fruits, vegetable, nuts, in moderation. And in moderation, no, it doesn't say it there, but I'm telling you this. In moderation means if you want to eat a Brazil nut, you can eat two Brazil nuts every 2 or 3 days, and then you get enough of whatever it's giving you in minerals. And sprouts eaten in an unprocessed state and in an harmonious environment. These foods provide a full range of all needed nutrients. They leave little or no toxic byproduct in the body. They do not result in body loss of any nutrients, nor do they upset the body's natural nutritional balance. They provide the foundation for total physical health and promote an optimum state of mind and excellent emotional health. These foods alone will not guarantee total well-being. No diet can do that, but they will give us the needed foundation for mental and emotional health. And of course, which has not been mentioned here is, or maybe it was earlier in the article, is about drinking enough water. And please understand, an 8-ounce glass of water a day or every 2 days is not enough. And that means your body will be very dehydrated. Um, yeah, and if people ask how much should I drink, I'm always like, well, try for at least 3 liters and then get it up to 4, 5 liters. And we like the distilled water. This is what I mainly drink. Okay, there were, yeah, questions and answers. When I'm depressed, I just want to eat and eat. I know it's bad, but what can I do to stop this? This is what we, um, struggle with a lot. And you know what the thing is, what I found, what I finally realized, if I eat cooked food, somehow I always want more. Even being full, there's still that, oh yeah, I can eat a little bit more. Absolutely crazy. It doesn't happen on fruit, on eating fruit. You eat until you feel satisfied and you put it away and you go on with your day until you feel, yeah, I can eat some more. Okay, first, it's important to realize that most depression is caused by a morbid preoccupation with the self. You need to get out of yourself to effectively combat depression. Food is just a way of trying to distract yourself from your depressive thoughts. Instead of eating, I suggest that you exercise vigorously. Well, that exercise vigorously, I'm not so sure if that's quite clear. It has been discovered that intense activities such as running and other exercise even is an effective way to deal with depressive tendencies. Also, you can tackle a chore that you have been putting off or just trying to help out another person. There are much more positive ways of dealing with depression than moping and eating. I don't know if I would give this exact answer. What would you suggest, Sarah?
That, depression is, I mean, it's definitely like something real, but I mean, I don't know. Everybody has something. Everybody is depressed about something on one level or another. Some people's are just further in. And no matter what you reach for out there, it's never going to help the depression in there. So you have to work from the inside out. And whether that be, a spiritual journey, finding something that way, or you are going to work with the foods to help you repair from the inside out. Because when you do go on a journey like this and you are changing your diet, you really are starting on the inside out because your body will start to heal from the inside and then it'll come to the outside. So, depression is serious and it should be something taken seriously, but I mean there is a way out of it. And through good nutrition and grounding and balancing, and even depending on what your depression is about, talking with somebody about it, those are all good strategies that you can do to help work out of depression.
Yeah, and don't forget the deep breathing exercises.
Oh, deep breath.
Yeah.
How have we left that out? Like, breathing is like so good for you. I mean, and two, like, and I know we've talked about it 1,000 times, but I don't know, for some reason it wasn't clicking, but it finally clicked that your deep belly breathing moves the lymph that's in your whole entire core. Like, it, no wonder everything starts happening to us as we get older because you start shallow breathing, you're not moving your lymph system that's in your belly and stuff, and then things start happening. Well, I mean, breathing is one of the best things that we can possibly do, and we don't even know how to breathe right. I mean, geez, I think I just learned how to breathe a few months ago, and it is complete life changing. Absolutely, complete life changing. Can we jump back to water real quick? Because I found that one thing that we talked about when you just said about distilled water.
Mhm.
Distilled water dissolves waste. And it is empty. It has no dissolved solids, no chemicals, no minerals. Because it is empty, it pulls waste, acids, salts, and inorganic minerals, the kind your body can't use, out of the tissue and out of the blood. It hydrates deeply. Pure H2O crosses membranes faster. Your cells don't have to filter out anything first. And then the claim that it leaches minerals, people worry that it strips calcium or electrolytes. In reality, distilled water only picks up and flushes inorganic deposits like calcium buildup in joints, arterial plaque, and kidney stones. Your usable minerals, your electrolytes, come from fruit and vegetables, not from water in the first place. That's why cows drink pond water but still build bone from grass, not water. So, I
Exactly.
only drink distilled water. I carry it with me. I make my own, and you call me a water snob, but that's the only thing that's going in my body. And
Uh,
I've been to some restaurants, and like we were at Olive Garden, and I'm sitting there at the end of the table with a glass of water. Everybody else is eating, and that water was awful. I was
yeah.
like, I can't
Oh,
even
yeah.
drink this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Even when you order tea somewhere and they have the bad water, the tea is not even drinkable.
oh, I mean,
It
I
is.
don't even drink tea, so I just sit there. I'm like, well, I am not drinking nothing then. Yep, I will just sit here. Yeah, yeah, and
Um,
I was actually fearful about going to Olive Garden because I used to back in the day eat the fettuccine Alfredo. And I was like, what if it's here? And like, what if I'm like, well, I'll just sample some of it or something. And I mean, I didn't. I was actually repulsed by it. But I looked it up and the fettuccine Alfredo with no chicken, no shrimp or anything, I want to say it was like 65 to 80 grams of fat.
yeah.
For one plate, are you out of your mind?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's 20, 46. That's 4 days worth of fat for my husband.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, here's another one that we hear a lot. Sometimes I find myself crying a lot for no apparent reason. Can a diet cause this? A diet that radically affects the blood sugar level can certainly make a person easily move to tears, lands, breakdowns. If you will eliminate all sugar, caffeine, nicotine, and alcohol from your diet, you will most likely experience a lot more emotional stability. Blood sugar quickly normalizes on a natural diet with none of the above listed artificial foods. It doesn't quite explain why we, can easily cry, but it doesn't stay. It comes in. I don't know if you experienced that. I think that Katie had mentioned it. That can happen, but it's only for a time. I'm not quite sure what causes it.
I mean, I think it's just like, the addictions like if you're still eating that kind of stuff, the addictions where your body's just kind of like it's feeling good and then it's not feeling good. And then you eat that fatty stuff again and then you feel good and then you don't feel good. It's the same thing with any kind of drug, but also like even on like this path, like sometimes like, you just get that feeling of like longing or that feeling in your chest where it's like something and you're just trying to fill that. But again, I think most of us were just lacking and I always revert back to God and people can call it whatever they want, source, spirit, or whatnot. But I think most of us are lacking that connection. And so the stronger you make that connection, then the more whole you are going to feel.
True. And everybody says, when they are on that people that were like for a year on high fruits, how absolutely amazing they felt emotionally, the stability, the everything. And then they fall back into old habits. And often, it's extra stress, unexpected. Healing is not, it doesn't happen in a few months. It may not even happen in a few years.
Right?
Because you know how long you've been on this path, and same for me.
Yeah.
And we can act as if it's like, yeah, we're doing so great, but we can have our fallbacks.
Of course. I mean, I said that I don't watch stuff, but there's sometimes that something like if my husband's watching it and I'll look over at his phone, there I am again. And then it's like, oh my gosh, okay, pull back. But again, the path is not perfect. The path of eating right is not perfect. The path of being a good person is not perfect. It is just simply how quickly you get up again, how quickly you turn your face back to God, how quickly you come back to this. I mean, so okay, go out and eat cooked foods or whatever. All right. Next day, just come back to some fruit. Or, if you completely fall off the wagon, all right, then just come back to whatever. Everything in life is literally just about getting back up and doing it again. And you're still going to stumble, you're still going to fall, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. God still loves you, we still love you. You just get back up and you just keep doing the best that you can with whatever situation you're in. And that's it. That's the whole thing of life. Be a better
Yeah,
person than you were the day before.
keep moving forward. You can't go back,
No, nobody can go back.
No.
The only thing you can do is go forward. And
Yeah.
no matter what hand you were dealt in life back in the day or even right now, you just have to just keep going forward because there's no other option.
I
And make
just
your life
realized
the best.
yeah, I'm sorry for
Yeah,
interrupting.
you're fine.
I was looking at the clock and it's like, oh my gosh, we've already been talking for an hour and 20 minutes.
That's funny. I know, and I do only have a few minutes left, because
Oh, okay.
not school, but his work is in place now. So
I'm looking at we did, yeah, well, we got through most of it.
well, we can always do this again too. I mean, this even every little bit that we're like walking through this, it's all so important. And every little piece of everything, it's the whole tapestry of life. Every thread is what's going to make that final piece of art.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we're gonna leave it at this for today.
Okay.
And I was thinking now we're gonna do it like for an hour. And here we are.
Coffin and all. So hopefully next week this
Well,
will be
you did
gone and
good.
all sound good. Yeah.
Yeah, you did good. I didn't hear you coughing at all. So
Well, I do have a mute button, so
No.
good old mute.
All right.
Well, we've missed Gary and we miss Katie but still it was a wonderful podcast with good information and thank you, Tony, and thank you for everyone listening.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Much love to everyone, and I would say till the next time.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone. Bye, Tony.